Welcome back, 5th grade. We are still on Domain 5, Lesson 1, Discovering the Topic of the Renaissance. This is Part 2. A reminder of our objectives are to make inferences about the civilizations and time periods that led to the Renaissance based on the text, and to explain the relationship between these factors that inspired that movement. So what are the factors that led to the Renaissance movement? Well, the humanist movement grew, so more people had the opportunity to learn about the literature, art, and government of ancient Greece and Rome. Humanists promoted the human form and looking beyond the Bible. There were more merchants and craftsmen, so the middle class grew and became more influential, and the appearance of patrons from the wealthy middle class allowed art and literature to blossom during the Renaissance. So what that basically means is we have this humanist movement where they were thinking so much of how the human body works and how we think, and that was able to think beyond just what the Bible was providing and the stories that were in them. So with that came more people that were doing different jobs, which made the middle class grow up. Then you had these patrons that had all this wealthy money that worked really, really hard to make that money. Well, when you work really hard, sometimes you don't really have that free time. So they were able to use their money to promote all this great literature and art to be created. And with that started the Renaissance, because all these things were starting to be created now. And a lot of famous people came from it. And how did these factors inspire the movement? So as people studied the past, they became more interested in the present and started to make scientific and artistic discoveries. So as they said about Galileo and things like that, how he studied more of the scientific, astronomy and things like that. But we also had people like William Shakespeare, who was someone was able to give him a patron for it. And we were able to get more from that as well. So people began to think and create beyond the Bible. So their works included history, science, and literature. So before this time, people were using the Bible very much as their stories. They would retell the stories. A lot of the art at the time was just the stories interpreted artistically. And now people were starting to look at the history of things that have already happened, and that's when they started creating things now. So that's what it's talking about moving to the present. They studied so much of the past that they were able to figure out, well, what led us to this moment. Some merchants were interested in the arts, became patrons and writers and artists, which led artists to explore their ideas and become more skillful without worrying about money or where they should live. Think about it in this time is a lot of these artists and writers and things like that, they did it because they enjoyed it, but it's hard to do when you don't make money from it, so they couldn't really do much of it, and they had to work. Well, now you have someone that's giving you money saying, here's some money, I want you to create whatever you want to do. You know what, I'm going to give you food, I'm going to give you money, I'm going to give you a house to stay in. And now these artists who don't have to work so hard to make money are saying, oh my gosh, I can create all these wonderful things and explore and expand on my ideas. And that created such a strong Renaissance movement. They were able to be very creative and engaged in what they were doing and didn't have to worry about where they were going to eat next. So it's a really powerful movement. So that's the end of our lesson for today. We will see everyone in Lesson 2.